Minister of Tayat proposes innovative approach to economic recovery by abolishing the profit and income tax. Minister of Education announces the school exam results, and the PLP comes out victorious in the Island Council elections on St. Eustatius. Those are the headlines for Thursday, October the 22nd, 2020. Good evening, viewers. This is SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. Thank you for joining me this evening. And as usual, we have a full newscast for you, so let's get started. In our first story out of the island of St. Eustatius, after being set aside by the Dutch government who took over the administration of the government apparatus on Statia in 2015, the Progressive Labour Party, PLP, came out victorious in the Island Council elections this week. With a participation of 3 local parties vying for the 5 seats in the Island Council, the elections took place on Wednesday, October the 21st, 2020, on St. Eustatius, where there were some 2,104 registered voters. A total of 1,617 persons voted for the party and or candidate of their choice. 3 political organizations comprising a combined total of 26 candidates took part in the elections. The PLP, led by Richeline Leerdam, with 11 candidates, amassed 815 votes, or 3 seats. The Democratic Party of Adelka Spanner, with 12 candidates, received 647 votes, or 2 seats, while the UPC, under the leadership of Elvin Henriquez, with 3 candidates, garnered 124 votes. However, this was not good enough for a seat. Each party had to get a total of 323 votes to be qualified for a seat in the Island Council. According to the preliminary report, the 5 seats of the Island Council will be occupied by Glenn Schmidt, Ruben Merkman, and Clyde Van Putten of the PLP, and Adelka Spanner and Nicholas Snake of the Democratic Party. The official results, including the individual votes, will be made known on Friday, following a meeting of election officials on the island of St. Eustatius. Leader of the Progressive Labour Party, PLP, Richeline Leerdam, told the Voice of St. Martin newsroom that she is happy with the high turnout of the electorate.
I'm still basking in the glory, in the victory, and I'm still soaking it in. I think that the team members and the supporters as well, everyone has worked hard, and everyone is excited about this victory, and we're still soaking it in.
So you're basically saying that you're quite satisfied with the results of the elections, are you?
Yeah, we are satisfied. I mean, due to all of the restrictions we had with COVID-19, I would say that I'm satisfied, number one, with the voters' turnout. I'm happy that the people came out and they voiced their opinion by casting their vote. We expected a lower turnout, seeing that islands around the region who went through an election during COVID, their turnout was not that high. So we thought it would have seen a little lower turnout in the 50%, but the population has basically surprised every one of us. And they came out and they casted their votes. And I'm proud of especially the people of Statia, because we always say, voting is your power, and we have seen that persons have exercised their power.
Taking into consideration the fact that the voters on St. Eustatius have given your party, the PLP, 3 of the 5 seats in the Island Council, where do you go from here on, Ms. Leerdam?
Well, Stephen, we all know that we don't have full democracy when we restore. Like we would know, like you would go in after Island Council, and then after you're sworn in, and then you're appointed to commissioners. Well, that will not be the case. We'll be in phases, and of course that's something we don't like, but something we got to deal with at the moment. So we're looking into going in with an open mind. We're looking for dialogue, and we believe with dialogue we can go through those phases and come to a common ground that we can finally have our full democracy restored before the next election in 2023.
And speaking to the Voice of St. Martin's News Department, the number 2 candidate on the slate of the Statia Democratic Party, Nicholas Snake, said that he was extremely happy with a high turnout in the election. However, the results for his party were disappointing.
The turnout was extremely well. It was far more than the previous two island councils, so I was very happy about that. The results for the Democratic Party are, as you can imagine, a little disappointing. We expected to get the 3 seats and the 2. It turned out not to be that way, and well, we have to live with that and make the best of it.
What do you say to the persons who supported your party in the elections?
Well, I'm very happy that they turn out and vote for us and that they kept on supporting us through thick and thin. And I think we should also in the coming period as Island Council work in their behalf as much as possible, and also, of course, in behalf of the rest of the people of Station.
Now that the elections are over, what's next for the Democratic Party?
I guess we have to regroup and see how we can improve our strategy in order to become victorious 2.5 years from now when we have elections again.
And now back on St. Martin, a press release issued by the Princess Juliana International Airport reads in part, as airlines have dramatically reduced flights to St. Martin due to the current pandemic, PJIAE management is preparing its second cost reduction program in order to survive the COVID-19 crisis and guarantee its operations and business continuity. While recovering from the financial and infrastructural damages of Hurricane Irma back in 2017, PJIAE is faced with an even larger challenge. Due to the global pandemic, the airport closed its doors on March 23, 2020, and reopened in August of 2020 for international traffic, which resulted in a loss of more than 20 million Antillean guilders. During the hibernation period, PJIAE management introduced a first wave of cost reduction measures, which included personnel benefit reductions and other cost reductions, such as reductions of all service level agreements. These reductions were necessary to guarantee PJIAE's operations for 2020, but with the current inbound numbers of around 10% in comparison to 2019, additional cost reduction measures will need to be implemented to guarantee operations for 2021. The main objective of the cost reduction program is to preserve as much cash as needed to guarantee airport services for our tourists and our island. In August and September, we saw traffic numbers increasing, but not as much as we had hoped. The slow virus containment and the uncertainty about the resurgence and spread of the virus in the United States and developing economies are causing prolonged travel restrictions, which impacts consumer travel confidence. Over the last months, our commercial and financial team analyzed the global situation, and based on the predictions, they created a needed base case scenario and worst case scenario forecast for the coming 4 years. These two scenarios are part of PJIAE's Rebuild and Recovery Strategy, which identifies several commercial initiatives, includes postponement of several capital projects to preserve cash, and outlines how much cash is needed to guarantee operations and business continuity, said CEO Brian Mingo. Meanwhile, that statement has prompted the swift reaction by Member of Parliament of the National Alliance, Christophe Emmanuel.
I am very much taken aback with that statement coming out of the airport. I think it's a contradiction within itself, because on the floor of Parliament and also on the radio program on Tuesday night, I outlined all of the monies that the airport have received, where they have received 71.4 million from the insurance company. They have also received the 50 million from the European Investment Bank. They also received 72 million from the Dutch Trust Fund World Bank. And these loans are approved. But for the request for the proposal, which is the RFP, hasn't gone out as yet because they are awaiting the World Bank approval. So that's why I say it's a contradiction within itself. All the monies that the airport requested are there. So my question would be, they are making the cuts based on what evaluation? In addition to that, Stephen, how can they make this statement, this bold statement. And then they have just awarded Haskonen, a Dutch company related to the airport of Schiphol, a bid for the supervision of the airport for over $4 to $5 million. So where is that money coming from?
And still to come, member of the St. Martin Anti-Poverty Platform responds to the Minister of TEAT proposal. We'll have the details of that story and much more when SXM Daily News returns.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News, and I'm Valerie Van Putten. As we continue now with more news, at the urgent public meeting of Parliament, which was requested by MP M.D. Gums, MP R.A. Peterson, MP S.A. Westcott-Williams, MP C.A. Buncamper, MP A.E. Arundel, and MP C.T. Emmanuel regarding the short and medium-term financial, socio-economic outlook and solutions for St. Martin, Minister of TEAT, the Honorable Ludmila de Weaver, painted a rather grim picture of our economic standing.
Looking at the effects of the pandemic on real GDP growth, the full extent of the economic shock is becoming self-evident. Tourism arrivals have dropped by over 70% to date. Based on estimates of the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin, the CBCS, and the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, the size of the economic contraction in St. Martin may be as deep as 25% in 2020, compared to the previous year, largely because of the halt in global travel combined with the effects of the lockdown on normal economic activities. The contraction this year is expected to be significantly worse than the economic fallout from the effects of Hurricane Irma because of the abrupt stop in income and from tourism-related activities, our main economic driver. The shutdown of travel caused a steep drop in net foreign demand. In the case of a hurricane, the country begins to rebuild, and insurance proceeds help trigger the restart of economic activities or bridge the liquidity gap in the meantime.
But not being one to just idly sit by, the Minister of TEAT has been hard at work. The minister said that given the severity of the economic crisis, the TEAT ministry is proposing an innovative approach to economic recovery by abolishing the profit and income tax. She expounded further.
Given the severity of the economic crisis, the TEAT ministry proposes an innovative approach to economic recovery by abolishing the profit and income tax and replacing it with a very small, simple tax on all financial transactions flowing through the banking system. This will provide relief and lead to automatic compliance and encourages both foreign and domestic investment, which in turn creates jobs and leads to higher private consumption. The tax would be small. It would greatly reduce the administrative costs of government and provide relief to entrepreneurs and businesses. It would also be revenue neutral by matching current public revenue levels because its tax base would be much broader. It would be easy to collect and transparent, much like the existing foreign exchange license fee due to advances in technology. And it would be future compatible with digital currencies and mobile banking. To give an example, the graph you see above reflects the average of 2012 to 2018. The introduction of just a 0.25% on credit transfers, which is only 25 cents on every 100 guilder transaction, the country can generate almost as much revenue currently collected from conventional profit tax, yet with minimal market distortion, far lower administrative costs, and greater equity. By abolishing both profit and income tax, individuals and companies are freer to pursue their economic objectives rather than cumbersome tax administration. Adopting our fiscal reform would transform St. Martin from being one of the least competitive fiscal regimes in the Caribbean into one of the most attractive to invest in, unleashing the creative potential of private innovation and capital. What we envision is a phased approach to fiscal reform in order to minimize distortions during the transition from direct to indirect taxation. The first phase would include harmonizing the tax rates with Curaçao, our partner in the monetary union. Since 2010, it was our plan to reduce our high tax rate of 34.5% to 15%. While Curaçao has reduced hers to 22%, we still remain on that high level. The second phase would include a further reduction of profit and income tax rates, while phase 3 would include abolishing profit and income tax altogether. In the meantime, the small transaction tax would be introduced and adjusted, if necessary, to maintain revenue to a targeted budget level.
Meanwhile, member of the St. Martin Anti-Poverty Platform, Mrs. Clay Elshot, has reacted to the minister's statement on the income and profit tax at today's SMAP press briefing. Mrs. Elshot wants to know how efficient is the NA-UPP governing coalition wanting to make this tax system of St. Martin, as nowhere in the governing program is the abolishing of profit and income tax mentioned. And she expounded further.
By announcing in Parliament that the government is looking into abolishing profit and income tax while implementing a banking transaction tax. While taxation is something of the Ministry of Finance, it was not Minister Atwell Irian, but Minister Ludmila de Weaver of TIAP who announced the tax reform. In the draft National Development Vision for St. Martin, we read and we quote, "Envision is a flexible and customer-oriented government organization supported by an efficient and effective tax system/administration, in addition to providing safety and security to all citizens," unquote. So how efficient and effective is the NA-UPP governing coalition wants to make this tax system of St. Martin? Nowhere in the governing program abolishing of profit and income tax was mentioned. Neither was a banking transaction mentioned, nor a foreign exchange transaction tax. Tax incentives are mentioned 10 times in the governing program. But tax incentives for who? For the workers and their poor and needy households? Tax incentives for corporate citizens, businesses, entrepreneurs, and investors? Minister De Weaver said abolishing profit and income tax will make St. Martin far more attractive for investors than the other islands in the region. The Economic Affairs Minister said that the current taxing system is very burdensome to businesses that are suffering tremendously due to the COVID-19. Minister De Wever further explained that reducing those taxes will also lessen the administration burden for the government of St. Martin. She insisted that the banking transaction tax will be small, but it will be applied to everyone that does banking transactions, while the government will gain much more money. The minister explained that implementing the transaction tax will be far more manageable and it will bring much more money to the government since businesses and the tourism economy took a real hit since the COVID-19 pandemic.
And in other news for you at this time, Minister of Education, the Honorable Rodolphe Samuel, speaking at the Council of Ministers' weekly press briefing on Wednesday last, gave the results of the various school exams that were taken earlier this year.
The CXC examinations for CCSLC, CSEC, and CAPE were held in July and August 2020 instead of May and June. Despite the many challenges experienced due to COVID-19 and the closure of schools, the examinations results of the St. Martin students were good. The pass rate remained at 100%. CCSLC, Caribbean Secondary School Leaving Certificate. At the MAC Comprehensive High Secondary School, 47 students took part in these exams. Charlotte Brookson Academy had 13 students. Milton Peters College had 22 students. St. Martin PSVE had 13 students that participated in the CCSLC exams. In total, 95 students sat the CCSLC exams in 2020. At the St. Martin Academy, 99 students sat the exams of the CSEC. St. Dominic High, so the St. Dominic High, had 58 students, and the MAC Comprehensive Secondary School had 30 students. The Charlotte Brookson Academy had 25 that sat the CSEC examinations. When we look at the CAPE, the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency exams, only the St. Martin Academy offered the CAPE exams and 39 students sat these exams. The schools offering the CXC examinations on St. Martin are satisfied with the overall results obtained by the students. In cases where the schools or the students are not satisfied with the grade, they still have the opportunity to submit a query and or subject review to CXC on behalf of their individual students.
Now, turning to our weather forecast for October the 22nd, 2020, a weak Atlantic high-pressure ridge will maintain light to moderate winds. Pockets of moisture will increase the probability of showers as they move across the region. Swells generated by Hurricane Epsilon will cause seas to up to 8 feet through the next few days. Small craft operators and sea bathers should exercise caution. Hurricane Epsilon continues to move away from the local region. This system then does not pose a direct threat to St. Martin. The Meteorological Department of St. Martin will continue to monitor this system. So the outlook through Saturday midday, partly cloudy with isolated showers possible. Now let's turn to your 3-day forecast. And still to come, police armed robbery campaign heats up. We'll have the details to that story and more when SXM Daily News returns.
The innovative Banco-Matico contactless smart card. Your Banco-Matico smart card is now equipped with a contactless feature for payments, so get ready to tap and go. Contactless payments are fast, easy, secure, and accepted worldwide at all Maestro-enabled contactless terminals. Tap for transactions equivalent to or less than 100 NAF, or the US dollar equivalent. You will receive notifications via email anytime you tap. Tap, tap, and pay fast with WIB. For more information, visit our website at wib-bank.net. Tap and go with your partner in progress.
Welcome back, viewers. You're watching SXM Daily News. And as we continue now with more news, as the St. Martin Police Department armed robbery campaign heats up, Inspectors Stephen Carty and E. Josefa gave our newsroom certain tips of how to deal with an armed robbery. Meanwhile, Inspector Stephen Carty spoke about the effects that an armed robbery can have on an individual.
When it comes to robbery, you have to go into the mode, the flight mode. Run or be passive. Because as long as you have that firearm in his hand, you are on the losing end. So, with that being said, do what they tell you, give them what they want. If they're in your business already, you're too late.
You mentioned as part of the training, we had a psychologist come in and speak to the participants. Because some people, I know, they see it on TV, they watch a movie, they read about it in the newspaper, but experiencing an armed robbery firsthand is a very traumatic experience. And during the training also, we do offer those who do not wish to participate to opt out. You know, because you might have someone that may have gone through something like that, and to bring that back would not be the best thing that you want to happen.
And as we end this edition of SXM Daily News, in news out of French St. Martin, the collectivité has opened a school bus line between Nettle Bay and Concordia to respond to the many requests relating to the establishment of a school transport line between Sandy Ground and Concordia. Establishments and the collectivité of St. Martin has therefore informed parents of students of the opening of a new line as of Tuesday, November the 3rd, 2020, the start of the All Saints holidays. A line will operate a school pickup on an axis running from Nettle Bay to the Collège Monde Accords and the Lycée Professionnel de Marigot. Stop 1 is Nettle Bay. Stop number 2 is Sandy Ground before the bridge. Stop number 3 is Sandy Ground at the level of the Albert Richards Stadium. Now, registration for school transport is already open at the School Affairs Office at Rue de la Liberté, Seaside Annex, in Marigot. Parents are invited to come in from Monday to Friday between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. to register. The documents required and are needed are the child's ID, ID of a parent, proof of address, school insurance certificate, a passport photo of the child, and 140 euros for the year. For any further information, you can contact the School Affairs Office at 0590-295923. And with that, viewers, it brings us to the end of this edition of SXM Daily News. I am Valerie Van Putten, thanking you so much for joining me this evening. And just a reminder that this and other programs are available online. Simply log on to stmartinmediacenter.com for viewing. And on behalf of the SXM Daily News team, we thank you so much for watching and plan on meeting you right back here again tomorrow.